Hi there and welcome back to The Four Marketers. I'm Chris and I've got Kristen and Mike, and we are coming from the Melotti Media office in the lovely Shire in Sydney. And today we are talking about marketing departments and insourcing or outsourcing. So in long story short is, should you bring your marketing department in? Or do you outsource it to an agency, or is it a hybrid? So yeah, let's have a chat. Yeah, Mike, being a marketing agency. Yeah, go for it. Hit us up.
Look, there's no right or wrong to it. I think,
Agreed.
We see waves normally in terms of trends and stuff. 1 minute, everyone's bringing it in-house. Next thing, everyone's going, well, hang on, this isn't working. Let's do a whole outsource model. And you just keep going through those trends and flows of in and out.
Yeah.
I think the reality is it all depends, and sometimes the hybrid model can work very well. Sometimes it gets a little bit challenging in how you sort of manage that within an organization. From our point of view, or the way we look at it, is there's pros and cons to each, and it's just, so long as you're considering what those pros and cons are, then great, do whichever one works well for you. From our point of view, I mean, obviously being an outsourced agency, our sort of slant towards outsource is a better model, but it's not for everyone. But when we work with clients, we find it works well because from our point of view, we're the kind of one person that they talk to. And so we're able to bring all of the strategies and the campaigns together to actually activate all at once. And so you don't get this situation where if you have multiple agencies, they're all kind of, I've got my ideas, this is the way I think it should be done. You've got one person or one company that's basically accountable. And that's where I tend to find it works the best. And if you've got an in-house marketing team or you've got a hybrid model, that's fine. You just need to have one person who's accountable for the performance of the marketing. If you do that, then great, get other people involved, but you've got one person who's supposed to deliver the results, and they're the ones in control. And then they can then direct all the other channels to provide their support and services and stuff. But ultimately, it's coming back to the one person. Where we see it come terribly unstuck is where you've got, they're just a director in a company that sort of outsources, and they've got a little bit going on over here, a little bit going on over there, but no one's ultimately responsible for the overall performance.
Yeah, isn't that funny? That's interesting.
Fights and
I mean, the way I look at it is, look, marketing is so diverse and it grows every single day. Like every channel is growing. There's, you've got video now, and video is even split into AR, VR. It's growing and there's changing, and then you've got all these different specialty areas. And I get it why a lot of companies would go, God, I just wish I had that one person. But I feel like there's no unicorn, right? Like
the unicorn. That's right.
And every sorry, even to steal it. I feel like is that if you are thinking as a business, I can get that one person and they will do my socials, my writing, my video, it's just not possible.
It's not.
They'll burn out.
They'll manage all of that, but they can't actually manage it and execute it themselves. And they don't have those skills. Nobody has that breadth of skill set. And that's why you go to outsource, because it's specialism of skill set, and you've got a more efficient use of time and a better investment and a better return. To me, I don't believe I've ever come across a client that would want to in-house everything. They always want to outsource some sort of specialisation, and it just depends on what's most cost-effective and is best use for them. We often find we deal a lot with clients if they want to do a brand refresh, for example. That is an outsourced activity because they're looking for a specific resource that is project-based. So it's got a beginning and an end point.
Yes.
But then when it might come to collateral rollout, they'll have an internal creative. Because they have such a high volume of it, and once they've understood the application of the brand, they can then roll that out. And for us, that's a good relationship because we can overarch and consult on the brand aspect, but we don't have to do the small creative work, the bits and piecey work.
And I would agree. Like, I feel like that's the same thing as Mike was saying, there's no right or wrong, but I find that even like there's advantages and disadvantages of each. Like when you have an internal person, Melotti Media has an internal marketing person, but again, she doesn't just do everything. She coordinates, she manages, she plans, but then when we have to go to specialists, like you did our branding, right? You did our website. It's that one marketing person can't do everything, but having someone internal, in my opinion, does really help because it means that you've got someone advocating for your brand internally and they can coordinate things. But then again, if you're a business that doesn't have that marketing person, don't panic because there's agencies like Mike's one that will take that role as well. We'll go, all right, we'll manage our side so that then you don't have to worry. And then you have larger companies that sometimes bring in all their staff. But then you have the disadvantage there is key person loss, right? And so then, like, so if that person leaves, all of that knowledge and expertise goes.
Train them up.
Yeah, and then
whereas if it's with an agency, you've got consistency regardless of the personnel cycle.
That's
way off.
It is, isn't it? Like it's this, double-edged sword. You find that unicorn, great. But then it's like, well, I found the unicorn. And then now I've got to hold on to them.
The unicorn flies away.
And if they go, then that's your entire marketing all gone in one fell swoop. So it's a huge risk factor to an organisation to have it so tied up in just one or two particular individuals.
Yeah, and having an expectation as to what you want to get out of an internal marketing resource. So I think the ones that work quite well are the ones that have a realistic expectation, that have somebody responsible for marketing, but then have flexibility within that team. So what they're really doing is coordinating an outsourced marketing and they're responsible for the direction. At the end of the day, they're also responsible for the returns that are coming through marketing. But they're ensuring that you're getting best use for your investment in both time and cost. They're the ones that we find work well because they're experienced individuals, they are strong marketers, but they know what they need to outsource and when they need to outsource it. And the refreshing thing is they know how to brief.
Yes. And I mean, that's what before I started my business at Melotti Media, I was a corporate marketer and I was that person. I was the marketing manager. I had my budget, I had my objectives, and then I would go, okay, for this particular project, I need to find a videographer or I need to find a branding agency. And so that's what I was doing. And it worked incredibly well because I was coordinating all the pieces. I wasn't just a project manager. I knew the objective I needed to reach. I knew my KPIs and their KPIs, and it worked well. And now being on the reverse side of an agency, that's what my clients are, is there's a marketing person in there, and then that synergy is just easy because they just with us and copywriting, they just go flick, flick, flick. They'll speak to us in August and they'll go, right, we need case studies. Then, a few months later, they'll go, I need my website refreshed. And it's just pieces. And then your just marketing gets ticked.
Yeah, exactly. It's where I find outsourcing doesn't work as well is if companies look to employ a more junior resource and give them one aspect or one portfolio of the broad marketing piece, and that for us would be, if somebody has just a creative. So they haven't given the accountability to them. They haven't really given them a budget. They haven't given them clear direction as to where they want to go. They've just said, do this creative, we need it, just work on our socials. And to me, that is where frustration comes because the people that have directed them are not getting the results they want. And the people doing the work are going, well, you haven't given me
the ability to do
the ability to execute, and I'm not the right person to do all these other tasks.
There's a whole nother podcast alone in terms of talking about juniors and
juniors. So what level and I mean, if you're going to invest in it.
Oh, no.
You're trying to say that you do all this great stuff and then you can't get it through?
Oh, definitely. But the whole point of bringing on juniors, and too often businesses kind of go, oh, you've done a marketing degree, great.
Yeah, you're fine. You're ready to go. Yeah.
You can now manage that. So I think that's a whole other podcast. We can talk about the mistakes being made by companies just doing that.
Yeah, employing the junior resource and then wondering why they're not getting results. And then as... people that are engaged professionally in marketing, when you come to them and say, okay, yes, your brief says you need to do this, but, your budget says that. So if you've got a more senior marketing resource, they initially know how much it's going to cost, but they've also got the accountability and they've got the ability to say yes or no. Whereas the juniors have to go back through and then try and justify why things are going to cost more. And it's like, well, actually, 9 times out of 10, it's because the senior person, whether they be the business owner, wants more than what their budget is allowed.
That in itself is a whole nother conversation as well. When you look at how do you go about getting approvals and who's making decisions and stuff. We've just gone through literally with our business, looking at briefings and how a project's going to run. So who's the decision maker within the project? And if that decision maker is removed,
removed from the room,
so far stepped back, it creates a nightmare of a situation trying to run.
Because you can't move, and everything you do is going to fail, right? Because it doesn't have
everything's interpreted or not interpreted. It creates an absolute fault, right? That's exactly right. But if you come back to sort of looking at just the whole sheer outsource side of things. From our point of view, the way we see the benefits for most companies is that outsourcing often makes more sense particularly when you're dealing with a small or mid-market organization. You get to a large organization, different story. Then it makes sense because you can afford having dedicated experts in lots of different channels. But for most other businesses lower down, it doesn't make sense to invest so much money in your marketing in those resources, because you've got to actually pay to actually do the actual marketing itself.
Yeah.
Just having the person there is not marketing.
Actually, that's a good point, because usually what is it that you pay, say, 120K salary approximately for a marketing manager, when if you took that salary and spent 120K on a marketing agency, the amount
it's money that goes to marketing.
The amount of, and it's not to talk against marketing managers, because I was one and I've been there, but I know when businesses are looking at these calculations, like Mike is saying, you're saying, is that you spend 120K, say, on a salary, but then that's just the coordinator, like
and that's what they've got to. That's what you got to recognise. That's a coordinator. More. It's not a doer.
Yeah,
because they don't have the bandwidth to do and coordinate. Yeah. You can't.
And so imagine spending that 120. And I'm not saying this is the answer for everybody, but like if you're weighing up and you're a business listening to this, imagine spending that salary on an agency. The amount of stuff you could get from 120K in a year would be ads, a new website, complete brand guidelines. It would just be, right. But what I'm saying is like that you would have your whole marketing suite in a year. Yeah. And so I get it. It's a hard decision for businesses, because they have to go, well, what do I do? What's the answer? So do we want to get onto the takeaways here?
Oh, look, I think you've probably taken the takeaways. Firstly, there is no unicorn.
Yep.
Don't try and impress upon somebody into your business and expect them to be a unicorn.
Especially if they're a junior.
My general view is that a blended approach is a good approach, but wait till you're a business of a good critical mass before you really start bringing on marketing resource. You can actually achieve a lot more with those funds just by spending it directly on agencies.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you think about some of the key concepts or things to consider, there is definitely the cost side of things. You've got the expertise and the retention of that expertise being another critical one. If you've got one person who's just doing all your marketing, again, that's a very big risk factor. If that one person goes and with employment and challenges at the moment, salaries. That's a big risk. And the salary costs that kind of come with that, or just how much you're reliant on that one particular person.
And recruitment costs as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the expertise side of things. And that expertise is both for specific channel expertise, but also the experience and expertise across lots of different channels. When you've got someone who's only had experience in one particular industry, well, they only know how to do things in that one particular industry. And it's amazing what we find, that you learn so much from different industries around their marketing strategies that work really well for them, that actually apply quite well to a lot of other industries. So you need that kind of cross-pollination and experience that actually brings a whole nother dynamic to the way that you approach marketing and think outside the box on it. So we see that work really well. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I concur, really. Yeah. I just think, and when you're coming down to it is look, do you have the time? Like a lot of the time, like a lot of the stuff when we're doing copywriting is people go, oh, I could probably whip this up. And then it's like delay. And then the last minute when they need it, they go, Chris, come in and quickly write it now. So don't be afraid even if you have potential internal resources, if you can't get it done, it's just worth just going to an external party, getting it done well, and then it's just ticked. That box is ticked, and you move on to the next project. And that's what like businesses need. We've got to be agile today. So
agreed.
I think that's great.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope that shed some light on the in and outsourcing of your marketing department. Thank you for joining us as the 4 marketers, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you.